Welcome to the Journey Success Stories podcast. I'm Jennifer Shuffle, your host today, and I have with me Josh Smitherman. He is with Jostin Construction, and he is the Vice President of Business Development and Marketing. Welcome, Josh.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Jennifer. Looking forward to being here and just excited to participate.
Yes, I'm excited as well. So, today we are going to be talking about his business, his journey, as well as maybe some transitions that are on the horizon. And what are those challenges and best practices that he's already seen, but yet is already thinking about in the future?
Yes.
So, of course, we want him to share with us a sneak peek of really what it's like to build the business, but go through this transition. Now, if this is your first time to the show, make sure that you like and subscribe because we want you to get notifications every time a new show or conversation drops, just like this one, because it's going to be powerful and I know it. So, Josh, welcome to the show and thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Please share with us some information about you, your background, but even more so about Jostin.
Yes. So we'll get through me quickly because Jostin is really the star of today's show. So I'm a born and raised Cincinnatian. And after school, I wanted to get some experience in corporate marketing. I went to school for marketing. So after college, I actually worked for Ford Motor Company on and off for 8 years. The reason I say on and off is I went for 2 years. I was based in the East Market area, so Philadelphia. Left for 2 years because I thought I wanted to come back to Cincinnati. Was not quite ready, and ended up having a really wonderful 6-year stint between the Ford Motor Company brands and the Lincoln Motor Company brands. So really just invaluable corporate experience. But I always knew that I wanted to come back to Jostin Construction, the family business that was founded by my father in 1998. My mother as well, that she's been there every step of the way. So after about 6 years, my second stint at Ford, I decided to leave. I was the customer experience operations manager, but I had really strong consulting skills and some business development acumen, and Jostin needed that role filled. So I got to stand on the shoulders of my mentor who had spent 4 years building the foundation for Jostin Construction's business development and marketing department. And I have been lucky and blessed enough over the last almost 3 years now to build on her work. And really in my job, let's just to keep it super simple. On the business development side, I help maximize our relationships with our current clients, as well as find new opportunities specifically for our general contracting division. That is here in Cincinnati, Ohio, as well as Columbus, Ohio, Dayton, Ohio, Lexington, Kentucky, and Louisville, Kentucky, with more to come. And then on the marketing side, it's creating a brand and really a storytelling element of how we go to market. We never really in our past took control of our own narrative. So I have had the, I'd say, honor of getting to really breathe life into the tier one marketing, communications, branding, social media management, all of the things that are sharing Jostin Construction's capabilities, story. We have a series called Fast Five, where we are elevating our C-suite and our VPs to thought leaders. I get to drive all that work. Some days a little overwhelming, but it's a really great way to ensure that Jostin Construction is always in the consideration set of our potential clients. Okay, so that's me. Now let's get to the cool stuff like Jostin. So formed, and I apologize for talking so much. I'm long-winded.
Oh, you're doing perfect. Keep going. I love
Jostin was formed in 1998. We were originally by my mother and father Albert Smitherman, mother Liza Smitherman. My father had worked for Baker Construction for 13 years, Baker Concrete, and wanted to take that expertise and localize it so that he wouldn't have to travel as much. So when Jostin was formed in 98, we were actually Jostin Concrete Construction. And we really grew out of being a commercial, high quality pump place finish firm. So that was really our claim to fame. And then around the 08 time, when the economy changed dramatically, we decided to add service lines to protect our revenue. So at that time, we added not just additional pump place and finish capabilities, but we also, through the leadership of our VP of concrete, Mike Veith, started a site work crew. And then we've also expanded into foundations, as well as some specialty concrete type work, say like stamped concrete. So really on the concrete side, we are a self-performed commercial concrete company with a lot of expertise in pump place finish, site work, some specialties, and then foundations. So that's kind of the bedrock of the firm. And then on the other side is the general contracting division. And that's a little bit younger. And the general contracting division really grew out of a need from a lot of our clients saying, hey, we love the concrete work, we love the quality. But on some of these other projects, we really need a mid-sized firm that can manage from beginning to end. And also, if you want to build out a workforce with the same level of quality that you've done on the concrete side, that could be incredibly useful too. Because workforce really here at Jostin is kind of, concrete is, if you want to call that kind of the beating heart, if you will. The workforce is is what grows out of that beating heart. So we took what we had learned on the concrete division. We started a general trades division, which lives inside the general contracting division. A lot of division there. So if you want to break the firm down, we are a self-performed concrete firm that houses commercial concrete self-performed capabilities as well as general trades self-performed capabilities. And then we also have a general contracting division that can do everything from your construction planning process all the way through delivery. And that also houses the construction management division. So that's the firm in a nutshell. Pre-construction, that's the word I couldn't get to. From pre-construction to final delivery. There you go. Some humanity in there.
I love it. So, medium-sized firm. Tell me
Yes.
more. Like, how do you define that?
Yes. So, I'd say the market is always going to define that by revenue size, which we're not going to say right here today because we're actually in the process of having a banner year and we kind of want to strategically drop that. But what I can say is another metric rather would be, or maybe another couple of metrics would be the size of project that you are capable of taking on, and or maybe the size of your workforce. So if I look at the size of project that we can take on, there really is not a concrete package that is too big for Jostin. I'd say a good example of that is one of our largest concrete packages that we've ever been awarded that we have not actually begun yet. We're very excited is work on the new Columbus Airport terminal.
Nice.
We have a package on that job that's, I believe, like 1 million square feet of concrete. It's a long job, and it actually starts this fall. But that, and we do have a partner on that project, but our specific scope we are handling all on our own. So there really isn't a concrete project where it's too big or too small. I would add to that, just so it doesn't sound like I'm being braggadocious. We do tend to stay away from, say, like large industrial floors. We will pour those projects, but there are some firms that's kind of like their bread and butter. Whereas I'd say our bread and butter is really back to that pump, place, and finish work. From an employee size perspective, we're running about 142 right now. The majority of that is going to be split between the field professionals on the concrete division as well as the general trades division. The majority of that workforce is also going to sit within our Cincinnati market while we are growing the Lexington, Kentucky, and Dayton, Ohio market. So that is where we are today. However, we had in our leadership meeting about a week ago, HR has been tasked with getting us over 170 before the end of the year, just because of the amount of backlog that we have to tackle going into 2026. So, I know everyone wants that revenue number, but I hope that those two metrics can kind of help define how we see ourselves as a medium-sized, family-owned commercial construction company.
Yes, I was really going for size of the job, but also how many
Yes.
employees. So thank you for sharing. I would also love to dive a little bit more into the Louisville Lexington piece. I didn't
Yes.
realize that you were getting a footprint in Kentucky. Congratulations.
Yes. Thank
So
you.
tell us more. Like, how many people do you have down there, or are you guys just floating down there?
That is fantastic. So I'll try to keep this brief. It's like be long-winded. So we've actually been in Lexington for over 20 years. I only know this number because I had to present this to the University of Kentucky last December, but we have completed, I believe, 47 projects for the University of Kentucky. Some
Nice.
we performed direct to them as a GC. Others we have been a concrete subcontractor. Others we have been a general trades subcontractor. What is really beautiful about that institution is they continue to just churn out work and grow their campus to meet really the future needs of their student and their faculty and their staff. So because of our tenure in that market, we decided last year to formally form a Lexington, Kentucky office. And I apologize, I said last year. We actually made this decision about 3 years ago to formally form that office with the actual address, the office with an address opening in January of this year. So that team is built of about 15 people, I'd say. Our vice president of general contracting, a gentleman by the name of Matt, he actually oversees that market on behalf of Jostin. And then in market are, I believe, three full-time project managers, three full-time superintendents, and then we have mostly general trades craft force in that market. We do flex the concrete division from Cincinnati to Lexington because it does fit within our 90-mile radius, but we do have in-market leadership as well as craft force there. And one maybe kind of going back to your last question, but I think it really relates well to this question. When you win work at the University of Kentucky, and one of our main goals is to find private opportunities in that market. That's part of my job in Lexington is we love and will continue to work at the University of Kentucky. That has really helped us build and sustain the Lexington and Louisville market for that matter. But it is also important that we have private opportunities because when you bid to UK, you're bidding public. So that means the lowest bidder wins, but you still have to make your margins. So we were really proud of the fact that we won our largest general trades package ever, a $12 million package at UK for Turner Construction. It's called UKHEB, which stands for the University of Kentucky Health Education Building. And we won that job by about a margin of 1.5%. So that just goes to show you the level of precision and relationships that our estimating department has to have with the subcontractors in all of the markets that we estimate in and work in, because had we not been able to leverage relationships as well as technical expertise, that project could have easily slipped through our fingers. So we are super excited to be on UK HEB. The project is off to a great start. But as we continue to grow in Lexington, the continued focus, not the real focus, the continued focus is looking for opportunities off of the University of Kentucky's campus.
Very fair. So is the Louisville because of U of L or is it something else in Louisville?
Yeah. So Louisville really, at this moment in time, is work that we can flex our Lexington crew to if
Yes.
and when we need to. So I'd say our presence in Louisville right now is probably more concrete than anything else. We have really strong partnerships with some of the larger general contractors in this market as well as those markets. One of our longest standing subcontracting relationships is with Messer Construction. I believe I've already mentioned Turner. In that particular market, you have firms like Whiting Turner, and you have firms like Congleton Hacker. So we have worked really hard to build strategic subcontracting relationships with those firms, specifically the bigger ones, so that they, but call on us to bid their concrete and general trades opportunities. So the Louisville market as it stands today tends to be subcontracting opportunities with general contractors who we have relationships with who say, hey, we have this project in Louisville. We know you have assets in Lexington that you can flex. Will you take a look at it? It's not as mature as the Lexington market, but will be.
Excellent. So as we're starting to look into the future, Jostin Construction has some really cool things happening.
Yes.
So tell us more about what's on the horizon.
And I'll give a brief, again, you already have the history, right? But to look to the future, let me just give you one more small piece of the past, which is We are transitioning Jostin Construction from generation one to generation two. We are currently in the process of doing that. But it has been about a 10-year process. This was not a decision, and I'm not exaggerating. The leadership team here could have made decisions that did not align with passing the firm from Gen 1 to Gen 2. And while my mother and father, ultimately hold the keys, they take into account the opinions of their leadership team with great weight, because the average person on the leadership team here at Jostin has 20 years with the firm at minimum. So we started, I believe, those conversations when they got really serious, and we realized we needed help with the Goring Center for
Yes.
private and public businesses at the University of Cincinnati, and they helped us really define the roadmap. We've also worked with some outside consultants, and ultimately, where we've gotten to in this moment in time is my brother Justin, who, if we get the opportunity to do another one of these podcasts, will
We
join
will.
me, and we will do more conversing about maybe some upcoming projects and stuff. So we don't have to harp on the history as much. But my brother Justin, who has been in the firm for over 8 years, will become our next president. So super excited for him. He is an operational leader and just has excellence in that space. And then we have also begun the process, not begun, I mean, well, I guess we have, but we have already hired a couple of people who are going to backfill some of the individuals who are going to be stepping not into retirement, but more into a board role. So
Nice.
we've never had a technical board because we are a privately held company. What we do that is kind of unique is we have what we call our stakeholders, and that group is made up of our insurance company, our bonding company, our bank, anyone who has a vested interest in our success, so that we keep a very, very clear relationship with them, and transparent relationship with them. So the leadership team as it is today will kind of become a more formalized board. We will report to them. We will be responsible for making sure that those dividend checks look the way that they need to look. Right?
Yes.
But we're being entrusted with a massive responsibility, and we feel the weight of that on our shoulders. When I say we, I mean myself, my brother Justin. I have two other siblings, Jeremy and Jade, who there's always going to be a spot for them within the firm and the expertise that they bring, as well as the backfills who are already in place and know for a fact the positions that they're moving into in the next 2 years. There's quite a bit of pressure on our shoulders, but we feel very up to the challenge. All of us are diligent students, hard workers, and we have really very little, if any, daylight between us. So we are a succinct team. We're all the paddles are rowing in the same direction. So my advice to anyone out there who is going to be going through this process is be methodical about it. Take your time. Begin the process early. Like I said, we started a decade before it really needed to be a real conversation. And have some, as we call around here at Jostin, as my brother Justin would say, have some real talk, right? Because
Yeah.
we really you have to communicate openly and honestly, get everything on the table, not be afraid to have hard conversations, because then everyone can align on what they need out of their career, what they want, what they're good at, right people in the right seats. It's all of that kind of stuff. But we're really grateful for all of the support that we've had, and nothing's going to go perfectly, but we are well suited. We have done the hard work, really led by my mother, Liza, to end up where we are today, which is with a succinct succession plan.
She is a brilliant woman and wonderful to listen to. If anybody ever has an opportunity to listen to her speak, definitely go. So I love
Yes.
that you added how long you guys have already been at this, because
Yes.
we at Action Coach also recommend 10 years to really do
Oh,
the transition.
and we
So
didn't talk about that before this conversation.
no, we didn't. So I love that you added that it's been 10 years already. So it is very important, and it takes a lot of time and effort to get everybody on the same page
It
and rowing
does.
the same way. But
It
then
does.
showing the cost benefit as to the why, um,
Yes.
is really where it lies. And I really love that you're harvesting and nurturing those relationships that you already have with your leadership team and
Yes.
transitioning them into a board model because
Yes.
it's really taking them into consideration and it's phenomenal. Well
It
done.
is. It is. And the last thing I'll say on that point, because you just said something I think is important, is that we don't want to lose them. Like
Great.
there's a
Exactly.
wealth of expertise, relationships, running through plate glass windows that we don't want to run through ourselves that they have already done. So
Yes.
so why would you I watched that show like Succession and I'm like, I don't get it. Like you all are so you want him out so bad, but you don't even know what you do for a living. So it is important, it takes a bit of wisdom to understand the necessity of wisdom when being handed an opportunity, and not even being handed, we are being made to earn it. I mean, we've been raking concrete in the field in the summer since we were children. The expectation here is if your last name is Smitherman, you are setting an example. You're working the hardest.
Yes.
It's important, as my father would say, I have to plug him, that we maintain the culture. The culture is, you know, it's what really, outside of our ability to deliver high quality work on time, on budget, all the things that a contractor is going to say, how we do that is really rooted in our culture, which goes back to our why statement, which is to create and provide a diversity of opportunities for all. And then out of that flows our six values, which are on the wall behind me. So
Yes.
again, I'm long-winded, but just had to, that's really the foundation and why we need that leadership team to not fully go away, because they're going to help us ensure that we stay true to what blessed this firm of 27 years of success so far and get us to the next 27.
Absolutely. So, as you look into the future, say you've arrived 5 years from now, what does the business look like now? And
Yes.
I mean, what are maybe the biggest challenges that you're having to face in, 5 years from now?
Yes. So I think 5 years from now, success looks like a successful transition from Gen 1 to Gen 2
Yes.
with all those right people in the right places. I think that from there, it is the establishment of our Columbus, Ohio market office humming on its own, self sufficient, self sustained, as well as another market in the southeast. That where that is going to be has not been determined, but we know that there's a need for our services. We know that because we have partners who work in those markets already who are saying, Jostin, we need you here, we need you here. But we have to be very strategic about how we enter, the markets outside of Ohio. But I would say Columbus and one of the markets in the southeast are open. And then I would also say, from a revenue perspective, again, I can't use numbers just yet. When Justin's here on the next one, I think we can use numbers. But we have a number. We have a number where we want to be, and not where we want to be 5 years from now, but where we want to be 5 years from now, sustain, so that it gets us to that next number. Um,
Yes.
I would also say um, the culture staying intact through these
Mm,
very like tangible data points that I'm talking about, right? So
yes.
new office sustained in Columbus, an office in the southeast. So I think those are things that you can right, like you can envision that. I think the harder aspect and an even greater sign of success, going back to my father Albert, would be, have we maintained Jostin's culture as we have accomplished those goals. And really, for me individually, figuring out exactly where I best fit in the company. I love my job, and I love being a marketer. I have aspirations to maybe lean more into strategy. So I'd say for me personally, landing that plane, so that I understand where I continue to best fit as the company grows.
It's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, thank you for
So,
asking.
not to switch gears, but I want to know. So let's kind of go into some rapid fire questions because I don't
Let's
want
do
to lose time. But what's your ideal client look like? Like,
it.
what
Yeah.
would you identify?
Client who knows what they want. what our ideal client looks like. But in all seriousness, a client who knows what they want or who is willing to, because a lot of clients are what we might say are people who don't build on a regular basis. So a client who is open to listening, sharing their story, sharing their need. We're listening, and then allowing us to help them bring that vision to life. I would also say a client who aligns with our values. We're in a time of somewhat uncertainty, and there are clients who we can just see from the outside looking in. I'm not going to go through all of them, but whether it's diversity wins or all in all the time or the best at getting better, good old fashioned ridiculous fun. Now I'm starting to get into all of them. Right, the golden rule. We go first. We do find that when we align with clients who align with our why statement, our values, it allows us to approach a project with a similar mindset. But really, just they know what they want. There's alignment on the values, and they trust us to do the work on their behalf. Trust is ideal.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. So, a little bit about you, Josh. What
Oh,
is maybe a book or a podcast that you're reading or listening to right now?
yeah, totally. Okay, so I'm embarrassed. I'm not reading a book right now, and I'm not going to fib up here. Like, it just is what it is. I have like 3 or 4 books that am supposed to be reading this summer that I need to like make the time to read. But I do listen to a lot of podcasts, so I wrote those down. I'm a car nerd through and through. I did work for Ford Motor Company for 8 years, and I ended up at Ford because I've loved the automotive industry my entire life. So inside EVs. I love learning about where the electric vehicle market is going. Is there ever one that's going to make sense for me to own, depending upon like if our charging network in this country ever really becomes something of high quality? But I just love following that industry. Well, I'd say that aspect of the overall automotive industry. Dateline. I mean, who doesn't like a good true crime drama? Nobody does it like Keith Morrison and Andrea Canning, like Josh Mankiewicz. That's the dream team over there. So I can name them. You can tell I listen to a lot of Dateline. And then one actual work related one that a colleague and friend of mine brought into my life is the CMO podcast with Jim Stengel. I think I said his last name wrong. But that's the one podcast that I can stomach that is industry related. Like usually I'm trying to escape my real
Yes.
life when I'm listening to a podcast. And one just like straight up pop culture fun one. It's called Keep It. And it is just 2 people just literally talking about pop culture. But they are also like cinephiles, I think is what you call people who are like super into like movies and things
Yeah.
of that nature. So I learn because like they're actually like intellects about it. So it's hilarious, but I actually learn about things like that I would never have known about. So those are my 4.
That is awesome. I love that you have a variety there because
I
you do need
do.
downtime. You have
Yeah.
to. You got to escape. Can't keep it on all the time. So taking that time for yourself is super important.
Yes, yes. Just keep telling myself that.
So here's a little bit of a fun question. If you had a little bit of magic dust that you could sprinkle on one spot in the business, what would it be?
Yes. Um, oh, what a great question. If I had a little bit of magic dust that I could sprinkle on any part of the business, I would say that it would be the general contracting division. There is so much potential. I mean, bursting with potential. We have incredible senior PMs who we've been able to hire from other firms who are maybe towards the end of their careers, but they led construction management, general. One of them, I'm thinking of Jim, who came from Reese Campbell, not directly, but he led the GC or team there for a long time. I'm thinking of Suzanne, who spent quite a bit of her career at Shook. And we have been blessed to find some younger PEs and PMs who they are mentoring and bringing up. If I had some magic dust, I would just accelerate the process. I would literally just like get our pre-con division fully up and running. And that magic dust would help us to find like 2 more estimators, which are the like most difficult position to fill. It feels like
It is. It
estimators,
is.
project managers, at least on the office side. But I just think that we have so much potential to unleash, which we will unleash without the magic dust. It just might take a little bit longer. But if I had the magic dust, that's where I would sprinkle it.
I have all the confidence in the world that you do nothing but exude magic dust. So it's going to happen without fail. So, well, Josh, thank you, of course, for joining us this morning. I really greatly appreciate it. It was a wonderful conversation. I really enjoyed
Thank you.
your story, your background, and even more so about Jostin. So thank you so much for sharing.
And thank you, Jennifer, so much for having me. This was an honor. I'm super excited about the work that we might continue to get to do together. And thank you for the audience for caring enough to listen to me pontificate. I appreciate that.
Oh, of course, I know already they love you.
Well,
So,
thank
of course, all of you who are watching, save this show, come back, watch it again because we did have some really great conversations and some really great insights to the business.
you.
So, don't forget, of course, to like and subscribe so that then you can come back, watch it again, and get new notifications when we have more podcasts that drops and conversations just like this one. Now, of course, Josh, how can everybody get a hold of you? Because they're going to be lining up because you're amazing.
Well, thank you so much, Jennifer. And if you would like to get a hold of Jostin Construction, I always recommend jostinconstruction.com. However, we are active on social media, which you can really leverage to see all of the great work that we're doing. So on YouTube, you can find us at Jostin Construction, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. You can also find us at Jostin Construction.
I love that it's nice, simple, easy to remember. It's
We got lucky.
yes. So thank you to everyone for joining us today. And of course, another great special thank you to Josh for being with us. We really appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you as well.